the tree, a tree here, we'd love to
Where are
have
the,
it.
where are the drop spots? And where are
Uh,
the trees?
My place, Town Pump,
Pharmacy?
the pharmacy, Westgate.
Mullen Trails had one in the
Mullen-
past.
No, Mullen Trail last year took our tree, took all our stuff off of it, put their stuff on.
Oh dear,
Oh.
okay.
So we went and picked up our tree and we're using Wells Fargo this year.
Okay.
Wells Fargo, Alberton Senior Center, the Travel Center in St.
St. Regis?
Regis. Yeah, there's 8 places.
Okay.
And if you want to put one up here, we sure will
I'll
accommodate
talk.
you.
Okay, we'll talk. So obviously,
And it has to be all gathered by the 12th, so the women and timber ladies can get it all wrapped and everything.
okay, and then is that what Lions is going to, because I'm a Santa Claus for Lions and we deliver.
Yeah, they
everything on the
deliver,
20th.
yeah.
Okay, good. Okay,
I
so
mean,
anyway.
it makes,
they're
I mean, it
coming.
makes sense to not have this program here and this,
Right,
and to
yeah,
to
that's-
consolidate it all.
Very
That'd be
much
great.
so, so I'm sorry, but I'm glad.
Yeah.
And the community's being.
And if you
covered.
see Robert Lyons out in the middle of the street with a fireboat in his hand, please put some money in it. We raised 700 last year, we need 8 this year.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're covered there. So,
Okay.
anyway, there was a big, long novel written here, so that if there's
Okay.
any questions,
Thank you, Monty.
okay, thank you. You guys have a good Thanksgiving, I'm gonna zip back
Yeah, you
across
too.
the street, okay?
And,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
and
Monty.
Mitzi, those
Take care.
hospital brochures.
Absolutely. Okay.
I'm assuming you put them up together. The brochures look really nice, so.
I have a question, I may be in the dark here, but what's the status of Monica? Is she still on the payroll?
Monica works for Innovations.
Right.
Innovations,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
all.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, not on our side.
Right, yeah. No, and she doesn't work for the clinic either. She works for
No, I knew that,
Innovations.
but I Wasn't sure about the hospital.
Okay, other reports, Foundation Board report. Deb and Larry, did you go to the foundation meeting?
We did. Go ahead.
Anything to
go ahead.
report on that?
Just a couple of things. They have put Roger Brown in as the chairperson,
Oh, good.
with Maggie stepping down, and then, I think Roger was hoping to do it, but didn't want to take it on, and then just as things came in his meeting of Larry and, feeling that we're moving in the right direction with the hospital, again, that.
Well, and also
and
Maggie Dolls, is it, do I have
Maggie's-
the name right?
Yeah.
You know, her husband's situation. And
Yeah.
he was very willing to step forward.
Yeah, so he stepped forward and
Good for
will
Roger.
take that position. So we were excited about that. Again, they asked what they could do to help us, and we iterated that we really need volumes and getting the word out that really using our facilities and our services is what we can best do for the community.
How how was the attendance?
There was
Five.
5 or 6 there, yeah.
Okay.
They're gonna have another meeting in December.
They meet the first Monday? Is it the first Monday?
It's the 9th, I don't know what,
The second Monday?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's the second Monday, yes.
Second Monday. I can never remember when. that
Second
is.
Monday at noon, I think, or something.
And it's in here.
It's in here. And,
I think they probably are needing some recruitments.
yeah, I think they're, they probably, but they were motivated to really move forward, and I think having leadership on
Okay.
board again is gonna be a positive thing for them, so. And then they are also going to accept a late request from us for the possibility of paying for the transportation of the 25 beds
Okay.
to our facility. There was, they've put some new procedures in place, and so we weren't aware of what those were.
Okay.
But they're going to accept a late presentation of that request, so we'll get that done.
What was it?
by
It
the
was,
next meeting.
you had to rent a couple of U-Hauls and.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah, it was about
Yeah.
900, a little over $900,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
yeah.
So,
All right.
making that a totally very inexpensive
Sure.
process.
Right.
Okay, well, thank you for that. I'm glad they have a chair now. Board committee reports, where are we with our bylaws committee?
You know, I've been trying to get a letter out of Stacy for a couple items and also Marcia, but I haven't had any luck, and so I'm still, I stopped there yesterday.
And Terry's been in and out of town too.
Yeah, so, no report.
Okay. Clinical Outcomes Committee, Gary's not here today, I don't know if he.
Can we back up for a moment?
Sure.
Going back to the foundation, to make sure we have it covered. We had a problem with the CEO would go to the foundation and get capital equipment without the board knowing it. We'd like to make sure that if there is a request, and et cetera, that it comes through the board and make sure it's on the capital equipment list.
You want me to make a motion to that effect? I can do that.
Is there,
I'd like it highlighted.
because I never
listed
knew
down.
what the policy was on how that was supposed to happen.
We could find out for sure, but what we can tell you from what we've discovered is that they were having some problems in the past with just handing
Mhm.
monies out and not having.
The foundation
The
was.
foundation
They talked-
really.
I can understand.
And so that's part of the rules that we weren't aware of, or the updates. And so they now have a form. It has to go through 2 of their board meetings. You have to present to one, the decision's made in the next one. And so it'd be very easy for us to bring it,
Well,
or however.
well, Lloyd's correct, let's just put it in the minutes here. that
Well, there
the
were
board
very,
has
very many
instructed me
things
to
that
do that.
happened without the board's knowledge,
Right.
except after the fact. I mean, that was just, anyway.
Okay.
No,
But
I
should
think that's
we-
a reasonable request.
Absolutely.
So,
Put it in the notes that I will, you had instructed me to run those by you
Yeah.
before we send them. We'll do that.
Okay. So is the bed thing
We had a big
okay?
problem of never getting a capital.
What'd you say then?
Is,
Oh, what
so is
equipment
the
they
bed
needed.
money okay?
All of a sudden they said, well, we needed that, we got it
Part of
over here.
part of the budget process, you should have that capital equipment list,
Yeah.
your wish list,
Mhm.
every year.
So we haven't
Yeah.
taken this request to the foundation, is, I guess, what we should do or ask, if that's.
If we could go after the
If we-
money to transport the beds here as part of what we want the foundation.
I'll make a
So
motion
we-
that the board approve, that the board give us authority to go to, the foundation board to obtain that transportation money for those beds.
is this the kind
I'll
of thing that?
second.
Okay, okay, we have a second. I have a question though, is this the kind of thing that, is this the kind of thing that the foundation would pay for?
Yeah, they'll positively consider it.
Okay,
I think, the least you can do is ask.
that's true. That's true,
Yeah, I mean, it's right up their alley.
I just wanna
Right.
make
Yeah.
sure that we're not asking for things that are outside the scope.
Unless they have,
Right.
other priorities, but
Okay. All right,
kind of an
well,
holding pattern anyway.
okay, is there any further discussion? Then all in favor of allowing the CEO to approach the foundation to request those funds?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Sure. I wasn't trying to
This
get
is
you in
very
there,
strange.
but, okay, so
I
motion
I would like
passes.
to come back to,
Go ahead and,
I guess it gets the job
Conflict of
done.
interest is right in there.
Amy?
Yeah, to say that.
Amy?
to a point
But-
that Lloyd made though, and I wouldn't argue with the point, but there's a policy in the job description about how the CEO can acquire funds for certain things. And there's a policy that says over so much, he's got to get approval for this or that.
Right.
So.
it's a
I-
really high amount right
I
now.
know it is.
I was looking through,
$20,000.
well, and I was gonna bring that up, but I was looking through the job description, just
My
kind
old
of
one
throw it
from-
out.
from
And,
Baldwin.
that limit there was 5,000.
I
We're
think
at something
Steve's-
like 20,000,
I
I
think
think
Steve's
is
was
maybe a little
20,000.
outrageous.
It's whatever the board is comfortable
Yeah,
with.
so
Yeah.
that's
And that needs to
something
be
we
very
can-
clear with the CEO coming
Yeah,
in.
it's a good point.
Yeah, good point. Okay, let's get back on track to, good point, Lloyd, thank you for bringing that up.
Well, the reason I bring it up is I'm used to have to create a dream list, all right? And then put a priority, what you need for and why, and justify it, and et cetera.
Exactly.
And then if you found a grant or something to pay for that, then that was all well and good, but it was something planned. But historically, Steve would go over there and get a microscope and say, well, you really needed it. None of us even knew we needed a microscope.
Well, and we've been asking for a capital campaign budget
And that's what I'd like you to handle.
for years and years and years and years and years.
And there's one in the minutes from several board meetings ago. There is a capital
There was
budget
a-
list,
Yeah.
yeah, there is one this
Yeah, we
year.
do
Since
have
they're
that
on the
now.
last planning,
Right.
Yeah,
there
we
was-
do.
But the beds were not on it. Okay.
Well, sometimes there are opportunities.
Right,
like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And the same with that operating microscope that was bought. I mean, you had an opportunity with a surgeon that kind of popped up, so to take advantage of that revenue opportunity, which he needs an operating microscope
Right.
to do ear tubes.
Right.
You know, sometimes you have to bring that to the board to, you know.
Yeah,
to-
Right, we just don't
to
wanna
work
be
that in.
reactionary. We've been
Right.
so reactionary. We need to know things way in advance, what the priorities are. So,
Agreed.
okay, Gary's not here, but do we have anything further with Clinical Outcomes Committee? I'm looking to Kirsten, but,
Well, I think Gary would tell you that up until this last week was the first meeting that we really had to miss, and it was due to an ER, where the provider and the nurse on that committee were both absent. I think Gary would tell you that we've not had enough provider involvement in the clinical outcomes projects because of their workload.
yeah, I'm hoping that's something that we can, work with the health center and some of those. 'Cause it feels like we've been getting the raw end of the stick when it comes to our own quality improvement. We haven't had access to providers. So, thank you, Kirsten. Marketing committee, is there still a marketing committee? We still have a marketing committee.
I know, we just put this on there from the previous.
We
We
did.
haven't seen Carol for a little bit, so.
I don't believe they've met yet.
They haven't met yet.
Is that the one Carol kept, or did she give that away to someone else?
Carol kept that.
Carol kept that
She
one,
gave
actually,
away
customer
customer
satisfaction committee, that one was Tanya, that one, she took that one over. Well, let's move on to the customer satisfaction committee then.
Well.
Maybe John, you can-
Yeah, it's met 8 or so times this quarter. And we did not meet yesterday for the first time in a number of weeks, quite a number of weeks. We've decided to have our next meeting in December because we're doing the mock go live and so forth.
Sure.
We've decided on two things to get going, though. One is to do a callback campaign to patients who come to the hospital who are outpatients and who are, no, it's ER patients, observation patients, and inpatients.
Right.
Those three. And we've set up most of that, but we put it off because we need a nurse to call back with a chart in hand. And it was more complicated than we thought as we got into it. And as we looked at it, Kirsten brought in a great deal of information about, well, this is just part of how we discharge patients. It's part of discharge planning. And so that's very helpful. We're going to go ahead with that. Then we also want to do training of executive supervisors and employees in the hospital on customer satisfaction and how to work with them better. We've found somebody to do that who will come out and not charge us. It's the outreach people out of St. Pat's. And we could have done that this month, but we also put that off till January because we've got so much going with NextGen right now.
Right.
So those two projects are ready to go, but we put them off on purpose.
Okay.
Because of the time constraints with overloading employees with too much to do with, NextGen's a massive
Right.
project. So,
Right, we need to get through that first.
yeah.
Professional Affairs Committee, we didn't have any credentialing or anything this month, so there was really nothing to report. So let's go move on to our unfinished business. As far as the schedule, MHA Board Education, we're still trying to coordinate with Julie to come in and do our HIPAA training. She couldn't do it. She's in the middle of the HR stuff as well. So I have compiled the MHA training, and it looks like of the 5 that responded, the number one, which I will work on getting that taken care of. Let's see, was CEO evaluation was the number one. So I'll be in contact with MHA and I'll start getting those, that training in so that we can start doing this. So I think it was CEO evaluation, then we had, building an effective board, then it was board's role and mission and vision. Anyway, I can send this out to everyone so you know what order we're gonna do these in, but, and we will work Julie in as her schedule allows that. So I'm hoping next month we'll have some real board training. So, are there any questions on that? Thank you for
You're
responding.
talking about next month as December, or?
Our next meeting? Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we gotta schedule that. Or if the board would rather, we can start this up in January, try and keep our December meeting short.
So I'm afraid that your quantity of people are gonna be quite limited
Yeah, that's probably true.
When?
in December.
In December.
I'm thinking of training, what kind of window are you talking about, an hour, 2 hours?
I wanna get them in, then take a look at it. They're not more than an hour. Less
I
than
was
an
thinking you
hour.
might want to do.
We might wanna do it on a
Two of those
separate.
back to back and do it outside the board meeting.
Yeah, that would be reasonable. I just worry about information overload either
Yeah.
way we do it, but I think it would be reasonable to do that. I don't know that December is the best time to do it.
Probably not.
Yeah, pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
the bottom line is you, more than likely, particularly if we do a board meeting it's still towards the end of the month, is you're gonna miss some people.
Yeah.
And the
So-
more the better.
So maybe what we ought to do is I'll get in contact with, I don't remember her name, the person that sent me the
Julie?
list. And I will get them in, take a look at them, see how much time we're gonna need.
And we have
But I'm
such a
guessing they're
good
gonna
board,
know.
we can wait till January.
Yeah, I think that would be okay. So, our next item then is our draft CEO job description. It's a very, very draft.
Oh, yeah, it was,
Um,
I just took it off my computer, it's been on my computer for a long time, I just threw it out.
We
there.
had discussed last time too, that was our first order of business, was we needed to get a job description before we can even start a search. I don't know if everyone had a chance to look at that. One thing that I wanted to make sure, there is some, in our bylaws, there's a job, just very brief. I wanna make sure that that's incorporated in our job description. And I know that, the one that you put together, is very detailed.
It is.
It needs detail, I appreciate that.
The most important part of that one, in my opinion, is the knowledge, skills, and abilities, and whether they fit with what the board expectations are. And they may not be close, but,
Some of it doesn't really apply, but,
you know, you might want to redraft it. I mean, that was just a,
Yeah, it's a starting point.
it's a
Yeah,
starting,
it's
it's
a
a good
starting
starting point.
Yeah, there are pieces of it that don't work for us.
Sure.
Obviously, it's a different entity.
well, right, that whole first part is not correct, you know.
Right.
You know, we didn't have a tax district up there or anything.
Right,
You
yep.
know.
So there are a
That
bunch
all
of
needs to be
differences.
reworded. I would suspect that Amy could probably put that in order.
If you would send me an electronic copy?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Send me an electronic copy and
Sure.
I'll,
Well, you want to do that? You want me to take a draft of that on?
if you would like to.
Yeah, I'll do a
If I can
draft.
do stuff at home, I can do stuff at home.
Yeah, well, I can do that.
Okay.
If you'll send me an electronic copy, I'll take a draft of that on, and obviously I'll
The other
highlight
thing-
everything I changed for everybody so you can see it. And anything I think is something, and that, believe me, it doesn't mean I'm the arbiter on it, but anything that I think we need to specifically discuss as to whether that's appropriate for us, I'll try and highlight that as well. And then we'll bring it back to the board, and-
Right, and we're not in a huge hurry, because we're not gonna be able to really
right?
get moving until after the first of the year.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
but
so
that's
you two are
coming
gonna
right
be
up.
On the committee then?
Hmm?
You two are gonna be the committee to,
Well, that's something I was about to go there next. I was about to go there next, is we probably, that's not a standing committee, but we may want to set up a special committee for that purpose.
I think that's right.
You know, and I wasn't looking at necessarily just taken on the whole recruiting process so much as
No,
a
just-
starting point for a draft
Yeah.
for discussion for everybody. But, yeah, we probably ought to have a recruiting committee.
I could possibly request some other drafts or some other copies from other facilities I work with too.
That'd be great,
Well,
yeah.
and
That
we have a
always helps.
copy
We have
of the
something.
health center, see, I mean, it's gonna be different because they have
Right.
different responsibilities
Yeah.
there, but
But more
It's a
ideas, to give you.
different-
Right,
Just
yeah,
format.
absolutely. More ideas is always good. Yep.
Well, and Stacy and I can, run down information for you and stuff, staff it for you, whatever you need.
Mhm.
Well, I think
I
one of
don't-
the things that probably we'd be asking you is when we start looking for a CEO, what are the key words that help get you a CEO, and which words that not to put in there that would eliminate a large quantity of them?
If you saw that, would this scare you away? Yeah.
Well, the key word, in my mind right now is, financial stability, and you don't have it, so,
Well, that's,
We have a
yeah.
I don't
variable
think you-
financial.
What's that?
We have a variable financial.
A variable?
Variable financial.
No, you're right, and that's a prerequisite, and that's what Larry's
But you gotta have
here
the
for,
ducks
to get
in
it
a
stable
row.
first.
You gotta have the ducks in a row.
Right.
With all of this stuff set in place, so that you can crank it up when when you're ready.
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
The other thing that we kind of had left was, I don't know if you guys had a chance to, but you were gonna talk to St. Pat's and see, about their outreach. And we were talking about recruiting and, possibly having Monida fill that role as a recruiter for us. And we had talked about having them come and present to the board what they could do for us as far as recruiting a new CEO.
Yeah, and I have not gotten back to them yet,
And,
so.
and that's fine, like I said, we're not in a huge rush, we kinda need to get things situated where
Is
they're
that like
ready
Joel
to-
Langford in that group?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
So
I
in-
talked to him for 30 seconds in
In the
Albert,
meantime, if we
but,
could do that, maybe come the beginning of January, we can schedule some time when they can come in and meet with the board so we can hear what they can do for us and what kind of,
We might be able to kill a couple birds with one stone there. Deb and I want to meet with Joel on discharge planning and see what we can do to make sure that we're, working together to retain patients, get patients back to the community from St. Pat's. And we were trying to do that after the Alberton meeting the other day, but it didn't work out. His discharge planning people couldn't make it out, but maybe we could, at
So I didn't
least,
know if
at
that's
least
something
with
that
one
they
or two
did.
of you, to come in, for a short time after that and see what they've got to offer.
yeah.
Okay.
It sounded like they might have some kind
Right.
of program.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
that.
no, Joel, when I talked to him before, he definitely indicated that he thought he could help us with that, so.
I just wanna know it'd be nice to know what the specifics are and what they can actually offer, if they're, how involved they would be in it as far as screening and, setting up travel arrangements. I know Monida did a lot of that, setting up travel arrangements and.
Did
getting-
Monida charge you for that before? In the
That was
past?
my understanding they did.
Yeah, see, St. Pat's, I think, would.
They would too. I mean, anybody I
Well,
think would.
Right.
Um,
Just access to their HR people to,
Yeah.
to recruit and.
We did a lot of stuff with St. Pat's over, and maybe it was a different relationship, but they did a lot of recruiting for us in Plains.
We've had historically a very good relationship with St. Pat's.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, we can't do all things, and if there's somebody else around who does it well and is willing to help us, we should take advantage of that.
yeah.
Well, and I think we're in a situation where we need some outside help.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
So, would you speak with Monida?
Sure.
Okay. And you.
I'll be talking to Joel Langford
Okay.
anyway. We have been exchanging emails, so we'll see if we can do
Okay.
something with this operational issue as well as the board.
Okay.
Sure.
Are there any other suggestions?
I've just received, well, I think one so far, of one that came through the interim. Do you want me to just continue to just pass those names through? Sometimes I don't know really what to tell them.
Well, because we're not
Right.
even at the point yet where we're,
Right.
Well, I
looking
sent
at
one through
candidates
that had
until-
applied, and I was hoping that somebody would at least give them a call and say yay or nay, or this is gonna be June versus what we're looking for
Yeah.
now.
I had
or-
one fellow that I've known for a long time, you know, he knew
Yeah.
somebody that, you know, I just said, we're not certainly there yet, process. The board is not here for there yet.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think we should say yea or nay. I think the answer is exactly what Larry said, we're not ready yet.
Okay.
We're not
So do
ready
you want
to
me to
make a
just
decision.
pass that information forward to
Sure.
Is there
you,
a
or
CV
just
or a
say yay
resume?
or nay? I mean,
Yeah, well, we can-
I just want some direction on what you'd like.
Yeah,
me
pass
to-
it on.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And
To
until-
Amy, to Amy.
And, yeah,
Yeah.
well, and until we have the, like this, until we got that worked out with whoever we decide to go with as recruiting, part of that function, the way I envision it, would be screening as well. And so eventually, with those that have come to me, I can pass through the screening committee, and it'll go that way,
Yeah,
so.
and I'm sure that part of that will end up going more to Larry, because I was just taking over.
And that's okay.
Steve's stuff for a while,
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm
okay.
sure.
Yeah, just so we know how
Yeah,
to.
just so we know how to
who-
address
Who
it.
needs it and
Yeah.
stuff, you know. If somebody does send a CV.
So
or something.
do we still need to contact someone?
Somebody,
was-
Because I
It
thought
was
everybody
one of
was
the- it was-
contacted that came in for interim.
yeah, no, but you got something since, right?
Yeah, one of the interims
It
was
was one of the
wondering if
same
he could
it
be
was
put
one of
in
the same
as a permanent.
candidates.
Okay, well, if he's put in a separate request, he should have a separate
Yeah, and I
contact
emailed-
us that we're not ready yet.
I'm pretty sure that I copied or emailed both of you with his
Yeah, I think I remember seeing
information.
that.
So
I'll follow up on it.
I just think it's good to contact candidates back.
No,
so
you're
that-
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's just
Yes.
common courtesy.
Yes,
Um,
kosher.
And you never know when you might have an interest in utilizing them later, and if you
Yeah.
treated them badly first,
It doesn't sound, or it doesn't get off on a good
Yeah.
foot.
Yeah.
Okay, moving forward between now and next time, we know what we're doing with this.
think so.
Okay, the way that I envision it, and, is, we have executive search firm or recruiters, however you wanna, call it, that we'll need to bring on to handle the advertising, the screening, and to whittle it down to, the top candidates, and then that would come to the board. Or the search committee made up from the board, or if there's additional, there's gonna be, I see that there'll be additional people involved, from management, from senior staff and medical providers and whatnot, maybe key people in the community to come in and participate in some of the interviews and some of that as well, before we make a decision.
Yeah, the
Probably the
inter-
top 3 candidates.
Yeah, the interviews, the final interviews at least should be the whole board.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But as far as handling, any preliminary phone interviews or anything along those lines.
But you're saying there could be a interview committee of sorts outside the board that would do the
It could, we don't have to do it that
do
way.
the
Yeah.
first cut and compare it to 3.
We could, or.
I think the whole board should be involved in the first cut too. It may be
Okay.
entirely
Well,
on
then-
paper,
sure.
but otherwise you have a small group that is able to eliminate your options.
Well,
So
then
I'm
to
just
do that,
throwing it
I
out
think you
there.
ought to invite the community, make sure the public's aware.
I think so, I think we need to involve as many stakeholders as
Yeah.
possible.
Right.
Key business people, Tricon and, Chamber
County
of Commerce,
commissioners.
commissioners,
Whoever.
superintendents of the schools, get some key community people involved as
Sure.
well.
Okay.
I'm not sure the best way to do that. I spoke with Muffy about this a little while back and, how this process has happened before, 'cause I wasn't around for this, so just wanna make sure we're very thorough and,
I wonder if MHA may have some guidance on CEO recruitment search that could give you some.
I've talked to Dick
Uh-huh.
Brown about it,
Uh-huh.
and
They don't recruit CEO.
No,
Board.
Well, I just thought maybe
No.
they might have some.
I asked about any kind of resources or whatnot that they had, because I kind of explained the situation we were in, and, you know, he said, well, I don't know, I can get back to you, but that's not really what they do.
Yeah.
They're,
I
they're
just thought they
more
might have-
policy oriented,
Yeah.
so, I did ask.
Really where you want your community to involve just tremendously is with those final three candidates.
The final
With
candidates,
final
right.
candidates, you know. Before that, well, it's kind of difficult to involve the whole community with 30 or 40 or
No,
50.
I would not, I wasn't suggesting that. Yeah.
But you could, you know, if I remember right, way back when, we had a candidate come in and we'd say, we're gonna have an open house at Durango's at such and such a
Right.
time, or here at such and such a time.
That's,
And
Right.
make that.
Whole
Very
community.
informal.
Invite the public,
Right.
whoever wants to come. So we are exposing them to the stakeholders and the public.
oh, absolutely.
I think we could do that.
Oh, absolutely, with those final three, you wanted.
Yeah, with the final three, not with the
Yeah.
30 or 40 in the
No,
beginning, if
no.
we have that many.
Well, the first cut's paper anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think the other thing is that the community should not be expecting that it'll be in the local paper, the one ad.
Oh, yeah,
No, that's true.
It'll be,
yeah.
It'll be in trade journals, it'll be, yeah,
okay.
yep.
Because we got quite a few criticisms about how did we select
Advertise.
anybody
Right.
throughout the process, and they didn't see it in the papers and et cetera. Well, this one won't be seen
It's
either.
such a, for the type, I mean, you don't see positions that way either. I mean, it's very sort
I think you could consider this a national search.
Well, I think
If
you
you
start
wanted to.
out local and you branch out as
Yeah.
you need to. Because the more you branch out, the more expensive it gets, so.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, some of the best people you might find are going to be in jobs and may not be looking right now.
Right.
And you might want to have somebody, whoever does a search, make some calls. And with in hand, here's what we're looking for. You might find a COO at a larger hospital who wants to get going on his own, but then they might want to go back to a larger hospital. So you got to figure out how long you expect them to be here as well. Because if somebody's on their way up, they could only be here a short period of time. But if they're comfortable with what they've done in the past, then they could stay a lot longer. So it depends on how you set the parameters as well.
Yeah, probably a good example of that, recruiting from another facility, currently working, maybe I mentioned this the last time, but there was a strategic planner, I think, at Community, a young guy that went to Big Timber, you know, when Brent Lowe came over to Livingston, you know, when I was in Livingston. He's currently the CEO in Big Timber, you know, but an opportunity like that, where John says, you know, we're, you know, a little bit bigger facility,